another KW showcase with a few signatures sprinkled in the mix. Mastermind, Tuesday morning masterminds here. I'm pumped that you guys allow me to be a part of this, and thank you very much for coming, and of course for allowing me to be a part of this. I think a few of us put our heads together, and actually I think Lindsay was the deciding factor on this morning's topic, which is tech talk. And I know that a lot of us are using a number of different programs as far as whether it's for CRMs or for videos or for managing your database or whatever it is. So on the call, we have collectively a number of people on this call that have used a number of different platforms, and some of which have been awesome, some of which have left a lot to be desired. So really, just on the call, I would like to talk about some of these technology platforms that people are using to be more efficient in their business, to get closer to their clients, not further away. That's something I think we should talk about too. And but anybody out there want to talk about what they're using technology for, and where do you guys really want to start as far as the good, the bad, the ugly? What platforms out there are great?
I'll go.
Please.
Yeah.
Thanks, Corey.
So as far as staying in touch with our clients, although we haven't mastered this particular database, we like it a lot, and we're using it because of the volume of Facebook ads that we're doing. But we're using Follow Up Boss, and it does a really, really good job of setting up different lists, setting out tasks. Really, as long as we're using it, we're able to follow up with people for the most part. But I have noticed that less people have fallen through the cracks while utilizing this. It's even allowed us to track deals a little bit more efficiently, and it works, which is great. While some of the features within Command aren't all there, this is a little bit more all-in-one. So while Command is trying to get itself up to speed, we're just going to use this until Command is ready, if it's ready. And it's been good. I think it's been good in helping to track a lot of things. We still, I don't know, are using it to its fullest potential. Mark would probably agree with me, but it's been really good in the basics of what we need to do to stay in touch with people.
And so just Follow Up Boss, Corey, so that is a database management system that allows you to stay on top of your clients or people in your sphere that are in different stages, right? So whether it's home search, already closed, under agreement, that sort of thing. Is that right?
Yeah, it allows us to separate all those lists out. It does a lot of the same things that most CRMs do, where you can tag people, but we don't do a ton with tags. We do mostly like they call them smart lists. So we have about 50 or 60 people on our hot lead smart list. We have some people on our client smart list, and we have different ways of touching them depending on which stage that they're in. And actually yesterday we just went through and kind of thoroughly went through all the different stages of deals and made sure that we had stuff set up, but you can do it all right there, which is nice. It's all very nice, and it integrates with a lot of different platforms as well. So Zapier, however you say it, BombBomb, which I know Bob is using now for his video platform, Facebook. There's a ton of different platforms that you can actually integrate it with, so that if you wanted to do your MailChimps or your BombBomb emails or whatever it is, you could do it all right from that particular platform.
Nice, good. And you've been, how many different database management systems have you used over the years?
Probably 5 or 6.
Nice. And this one, you're using this one, so this one you think is the best one out of all of them?
So far, as far as keeping it simple and having everything in one spot and having an understanding of how to work a database, I think helps, which I didn't necessarily have years ago. But I think this is probably the best one that we've used. We pay for it, nothing in this world is free. But it's worth what we pay for to use it, for sure.
Nice, good. Anybody have any follow-up to that? Anything
No,
like
but
that?
I got a question. So Corey, do you think, would you say that Follow Up Boss kind of complements what you're using Command for in terms of campaigns?
Yeah, that's why we originally got it because, as we know, it's been a little bit trying to get Command up and running with all the different parts working as they are intended so far. When we figured out that the Facebook lead ads were working great, but getting the leads out and getting to them in a timely, speed to the lead sort of deal in a timely fashion, it wasn't quite set up yet. And at the time, the Twilio integration to be able to send out a text message was texting these cold leads at like 3:00 in the morning, and there's no way to stop it, saying, hey, would you like to buy a house? So that wasn't going to work. So, when we were getting invested into these Facebook ads, we decided that we needed a CRM that we could control a little bit better for the time being. And so that's why we went over to Follow Up Boss, because the speed of contact and setting up the times with which it will send text messages out was all right there. And that's really why we started using it. And as we started using it more, we figured out that it actually is really a great system for everything that you could possibly need. It keeps it very, very simple, which for me is huge because I don't like a lot. I got myself into trouble trying to have a database that had like 42 different tags and all these different, it's just, you'll never track it. You think that you want to, it just never happens the way we intend. So this keeps it very simple, very, very simple. And as long as you log into the thing and check in with it every day, which I still struggle with, but as long as you do that, all of your tasks are right there and you just do what it says to do, and typically we're seeing some results from that.
So Mark, you as the buyer agent, what's your experience been with it?
Yeah, I mean, similar to what Corey was saying, it's very user friendly. You could sign on it and, without even getting some lessons on how to use it and basically figure it out if you just mess around with it enough. And it's cool. You can if you make your own email templates or text templates, you can track how well they're performing, like the open rate, the response rate. It tracks all that stuff for you. So it's been really good. And you can see when people open your emails, it's kind of like having read receipts on your text messages on the iPhone. So you can always tell okay, this person opened this, they got it, they viewed it. So it's just like I said, it's just really user friendly and it's easy to track stuff. So we have all of our stuff right in one place. And with the Facebook leads, we can set it up so that right when they come in, they get put on an action plan that works and they get filtered into this certain list. So I can click on Facebook leads that have come in over the last 2 days and boom, right there. It's just right there in a list for me. And that way I can just continue to follow up on them. And if I get in touch with them, we'll mark them as a hot lead. So then it's Facebook hot leads right there, all my lists, people that I've spoken with in the last week. So it's just, for me, it's just a lot easier to use. I haven't used a ton of other ones. So just with messing around with Command, the only thing that we, like Corey said with Command that we were struggling with is I try to send text messages to people and, and I tested it out on myself without sending them to actual leads, but I tried to send myself a text at 1 p.m. and I was getting them at 2:30 in the morning. So it just seems like that Follow Up Boss has all that stuff worked out right now. So for the time being, I feel like it's working really well for us.
Mark, can I ask you, when was the last time you tested that? Just out
Command?
of curiosity.
Command?
Yeah.
A while ago. So that's,
Okay.
yeah. So I haven't tried it in a while. We've been kind of going with Follow Up Boss for a little while now.
Yeah.
It was definitely pre-COVID. So it was a little
Okay.
while back. So.
I'm just curious because we're on calls every Monday morning with Jason Abrams and the tech team, and they're working on making all these tweaks. So I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that if that was a recent issue. Has anybody been experiencing that as of recently? Just
No.
just curious.
But was that a Twilio quirk or specifically? Okay.
Yeah.
Twilio,
Yeah.
right, Corey? Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you still use the Twilio integration? or did Follow Up Boss replace the Twilio?
So some of the active clients that we had, we left on the smart plans that we had set up, and we do get some response from them. So the Twilio is still working, and I think it takes $20 out of my account every 3 months or something like that to do all the text messages. So it's working. It definitely is working. The tough part with the Twilio integration on command is that to respond to those text messages, you can't just log into Kelly and respond as a text. You have to either log in on your phone through mobile command, which is basically just a website on your phone, or you have to log into the command platform from your PC or your Mac. Which, if you're on the road or something like that, and you get a text message in from a cold lead that's like, "Yeah, I would like to see 123 Main Street next weekend." By the time you do all that stuff and respond to them, they've reached out to the next person that they've been clicking on Facebook or Zillow or wherever. So speed to the lead with that was a little bit tough for us. Whereas with Follow Up Boss, you can respond right through the platform as a text message, which Mark has had, as far as contacting people, wild amounts of success with text messaging cold leads from Facebook. Have they all converted? Are they all ready? No, but they all respond to text. Even if they say, "No, not right now," we know it's a real person, and we have some information. And that's been huge. It's been a huge win. And just like everything that we've ever talked about with those Facebook leads, like the amount of time we spent on them now, I think Mark has seen a lot of the fruits of that. Starting to hit our pipeline with more very serious buyers. And I believe that it's a product of how we've followed up with them and even started conversations with them. So we're into Follow Up Boss right now. I think at this point, until command is up and running 1,000%, it'd be really hard for us to switch out with the way we've decided to do these particular bits of business. I think it does a good job with some other stuff, but this part, not so much.
I think that's a great example too. I mean, you guys are using it at a high level, and like we always talk about, the best CRM out there, or the best platform out there, is the one that you actually use, right?
Yeah,
Whether
right.
it's a fancy system that costs $1 million a month with a whole bunch of different bells and whistles, or just an Excel spreadsheet, or even just a notepad, theoretically, right? Or a Rolodex, an old-fashioned Rolodex. If you use it, you commit to it, it's great. Sorry, Dennis, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask Corey, so how much was that a month that you were getting for Follow Up Boss?
They charge you per user.
Per user.
So I think per user, it's like $60 a month.
Gotcha. Okay.
And there may be different levels of that, and what I liked about it is you don't have to sign it's a month to month. You don't have to sign a year
Great.
commitment on it. And I think what was it, Mark? Like a 14-day free trial or 10-day free trial. And literally to get the database in there, it was just a drag and drop from a CSV, and it uploaded everything like no problem,
Sweet.
which was huge. There was no tricks to get everything uploaded, and it was cool. Again, we got it because of the Facebook leads. That's
Right.
why we ended up getting it. And then we basically were like, what, if we're just going to be in one system, let's just be in one system for continuity purposes. So we've stayed.
And you share what your budget is for Facebook monthly?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we are running about 3 to 4 ads per month for $30 an ad. And that's generating us well over 100 leads per month. That's about right, Mark, right? Those usually generate between 25 to 40 leads depending on the property. We also have we've hired a company called Conversion Monster for $7.95 per month, and they're an ISA company who takes those leads and makes all the phone calls on them and actually does the drip plans for most of them, because we were generating so many leads that Mark and I couldn't keep up with it at an appropriate clip. There was just no way to do it. So we hired these guys, and that has been an absolute godsend. I think last weekend they live transferred Mark 3 or 4 people, 2 of which I think were buy sell. And it's been It's been really good. They tell you that's for 100 leads per month. They'll call 100 leads per month, and then after that, they roll whatever they haven't contacted into the next month. So month 2, it could be 195 leads that they're chasing, and then month 3, 395 leads that they're chasing for you. So they've done a pretty good job. We like it, and there's different tiers. So if you're going to run way more than that, you know, some of these big teams at KW who are using Conversion Monster are spending well over, you know, $1,000, $1,200 a month just for this Conversion Monster. We have the lowest tier, which is not $795 per month, and they tell you it takes about three months to get going, and they say it's about a 12 to 13% opportunity rate, which they say out of 100 leads, they should generate you 12 to 13 appointments. We thought that was probably aggressive. And Mark, what would you say? Maybe it's been, you know, in the second month, probably closer to 6 to 9.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably about what they've given us. But honestly, I'll take 6 to 9 appointments, you know, at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good return on your investment.
Again, can you repeat the name of that company?
Conversion Monster. You can find out a lot of information from them on the Facebook group Command Your Conversion. Nick Baldwin runs that group. He's a he's a KW Command Tech trainer out of the Midwest. I think he's out of Michigan. He's the best guy I've found so far on Command stuff. Facebook leads and conversion. Yeah, it's been really good for us. I think as we keep using this thing, it's going to probably get up to 10 to 12 appointments per month. That's what I would guess, you know.
Nice.
And to be honest with you, it's exactly what you'd think it would be. They transfer you, you know, they say, hey, you have a phone appointment with this person at 3:00 on Monday. You call them, they're not available. You text them, they're not available. You know, you call them again, they're not available, but then you send them back to Conversion Monster and they get them back on the hook for you again. So it's just same thing. You just have to keep chasing them. It's not a magic bullet. You know, it's you know, it's still all in, you know, pretty close to $1,000 a month between the Conversion Monster and the ads, you know, plus the soft costs of having to make the calls and do all that stuff. So you can do it. It's great, but it's not a magic bullet. And if you're not doing that at any type of level whatsoever, I wouldn't just call Conversion Monster and start paying them $800 a month, because you have to generate the leads. You have to follow up with them. You have to have a system in place to get that stuff back. Otherwise, you're just burning money.
I think that's
Yeah,
a great,
you know what?
you know, just doing some quick math on that, you know, like $795 a month, right? Which sounds like a lot of money. That's less than 10 grand a year. It's like $9,500. So you just hired yourself a full-time employee for $9,500 a year.
Right.
That's just crazy, right? So,
Right. And it's and they're already doing the job, and it's a month to month, right? So this is the guarantee they give you. It's like, just give them a 30-day. If you want to get out, it's 30 days. You're not locked into anything. And they put their money where their mouth was. And I appreciated that. And I think it's worked out great, because now it frees Mark up to run around and get on his appointments and show homes and, you know, write competitive offers. Because that, at this point, that's what people need to be focused on, not necessarily generating those leads.
Yeah, I feel like especially with Facebook, it's helpful because they weed through all the bad phone numbers or people that give you fake information or people that are just, you know, just clicking around online. You know, I mean, with Facebook, you kind of got to be in it for the long haul. Like, that's why we started doing it like back in the spring or maybe before that. And now we're finally seeing people that are like, that we've talked to back then that are ready to go. But then like Conversion Monster, they're also call me and just say like, I have this person on the line right now. So they'll try to live transfer you people so you can get them right away. So they'll call me, I have this person on the line right now. Are you available to talk to them? And I've gotten a few like that, you know, where I just got a pre-approved buyer from them. We had 2 last week that were buy sells, you know, so I just feel like they work through all the kind of bogus leads that you may get through there too. And kind of now I have like a list from them that they've transferred me of 10 to 15 leads that are, you know, active and, you know, more interested. So.
very good. Anybody else want to chime in with any other tech platforms that they're using that they find either has been great, they would never ever get rid of it, it's the last thing they get rid of if the market crashed here, or even some that they've used in the past that, you know, it's something that we use a lot of in this industry, but stay away from it because it's terrible. Anything like that?
Sure, I'll chime in real quick. So most of you know I'm a dot looper. I love dot loop. I still use dot loop, and I hope I can continue to use dot loop. It's just, for me, it's the most easiest platform that I use to have my clients sign all the documents that are necessary. It's so user-friendly. I have not used DocuSign, and if anybody has, if you can give me some comparisons, but I've heard some comparisons from other people, not within our office, that they did not prefer DocuSign over dot loop, and I know that may not be our choice, but any case, I love dot loop because I am loopy.
I love it too. I agree with you, Dennis. Super easy to use. I'll miss it if I ever abandon it. So DocuSign would really have to blow my socks off in order to abandon .loop. Definitely.
We used to be big fans of Arch Agent for expireds, but they've changed their platform and it's now called My Plus Leads. And I'm not a big fan of the interface, and so we find that we haven't been calling as many expireds because of that. So I'm curious to see if anybody out there is subscribing to a good company that gives them expired data to call on a daily basis, because we're looking to get something new.
I mean, I've stepped off the daily expired calls just because
There's not a lot of them.
There's not a ton, and we've changed our model because every day calling expired sucks. Like, you can do it, and if you need to get yourself established, but it sucks. It's a tough way to make a living. And so we get a lot more referral business now, which is great. And I'd rather chase some of these Facebook leads than expireds. But I still do make some of those calls, and we are using LandVoice, and I do think LandVoice is a good platform. If you've registered for Bold at any point and you just mention the Bold, they'll give you the Bold pricing, which I think is $800 for the year.
Yeah.
For their top tier everything. And I think the information is good. There's just not a ton of it to be calling. Yeah.
And that's interesting because we're getting a ton of Sphere referrals, and we're getting leads from every angle, which is awesome. But I always felt that the foundation of me and Lisa's generating business has been from expired. So we don't want to kind of give that up, because as much as it might suck, honestly, they're the lowest hanging fruit, in my opinion. They're just like, they already proved that they've hired a realtor, just didn't work out. And with the right scripts, you can just snag them like crazy. So we want to go back into that actually a little deeper than we have been.
And the market's going to change too. If you've been in the business for 5 to 8 years, what we're seeing right now is kind of the norm, right? Which is absolutely not the norm. 8 straight years of appreciation and houses, coming on and going off. But it wasn't really too long ago that I remember seeing panic in realtors' faces when they're coming up on the end of their 6-month, listing, and we got to get this to sell, or my sellers won't renew with me, that sort of thing. I mean, we'll see those days again, and chances are pretty good it's sooner rather than later. So if you can keep those expired as going as habit and improving on those scripts, when the expireds really do hit the market, you're going to be killing it.
Yeah, I agree.
So I didn't think too much I never considered myself much of a tech guy, to be honest, but in getting ready for this call, I thought about the different technology that my team uses just now, really on a day-to-day basis. I do have Slide Dial, which, if you guys don't know what Slide Dial is, I don't use it very often, but if you want to make a phone call, go right to voicemail. Slide Dial, you can either get it for free or extremely cheap, like $2 a month or something like that. You dial a contact through Slide Dial, it goes right to their voicemail, so you can leave them a message. I subscribe to something called Mortgage Market Guide that sends me the hourly updates on what mortgage-backed securities are doing. So I'll know if interest rates are trending downward. Every hour I know what's going on with that market. And they send me some other, market update sort of stuff too. As we found over the last couple of months, or when COVID especially hit, the 30-year fixed rate mortgages really don't always follow the trend of the 10-year US Treasury, right? Rates were actually going up while the Treasury yields were crashing. And I was on top of that through MMG. Phone burner is something I'm surprised actually a lot of you guys don't use. Phone burner is fantastic. It allows you to upload a call schedule or a call sheet to phone burner, and it's an auto dialer. So you don't have to hang up and redial. And believe it or not, if you're calling 20, 50, 100 people, you're saving a ton of time by doing it that way. If voicemail picks up, you can pre-record a voicemail too. So you just move on to the next call while phone burner leaves that pre-recorded voicemail. So phone burner is, if you haven't looked into it and you'd like an auto dialer, phone burner is great. I use something called HomeBot for my past clients, my clients who have closed, that allows them to stay up to date on their current home values, run refinance scenarios, houses that have come on the market recently, that sort of stuff. You guys know BombBomb, my video platform. I love BombBomb. To me, it's way better than CoVideo. Radius uses a CRM called Total Expert, and that's where those videos are coming from. We use something called Domo that allows me to track absolutely every aspect of my business, from things like my lead conversion rates to the amount of times to reach out to a client, the number of days from application to closing, application to approval, that sort of stuff. If you're an info junkie like I am, it just absolutely tracks everything. My Excel spreadsheet is just my lead tracker. I'd never get rid of that. Of course, I use Zoom here, and I love Zoom. Never used it before COVID ever, and I will never, ever get rid of it ever. We all use social media, so Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn.
You use that?
Dude, all the time. Outlook, Outlook calendars. I think Outlook calendar, too, should be a part of it. Without my Outlook calendar, I'd be lost. Blend is something that we use to send out our secure application pre-approvals, so I can send it right out to them. Through Blend, we can even pull credit, send out pre-approvals, that sort of stuff. Of course, YouTube channels, something by the end of this week, I'm going to have installed into our system here called Calendly. It's like calendar, but with an LY at the end, Calendly. And really, it just allows my clients to set their own appointments with me. It syncs with my Outlook calendar and sees when I'm available. And they can just click on a 10:30 appointment, 10:30 to 11 with Bob, something like that. And that's very, very inexpensive. But again, I never considered myself a big tech guy, but look at that. I mean, I've got 15 things here probably that I use regularly. That some of them are luxury, but some of them are absolute must-haves. What else are we using out there?
I just want to jump in real quick and just say, I think that's awesome that you're working on all those different platforms. And I understand that Command is not where a lot of people want it to be right now. And there's a lot of kinks that they're working out. And I think the whole point, though, is that so that you don't have to go to all those different platforms, that it all lives in one place and you're saving money so that you're not paying for all these additional places to go and track your leads and do the Facebook and the designs and all of that. But I totally understand that, there's certain aspects of it that just are not working up to where people want it to be just yet. So every Monday morning, what we're doing is we're having a Zoom meeting with Jason Abrams and the tech team, and we're going through each of these different areas of Command that need to be improved, and where they're putting in an order of relevance as far as like high priority and what's lower priority. So if you guys have any techs, platforms that you're working in that you would recommend that are similar to what we have as a feature in Command, that you're just I'm using this platform and I'm paying extra for it. I know Command's working on it, but this is what they're doing that's better than what's happening in Command right now. If you could just share any of that information with me, I'd love to pass it along, because really ideally what I want to do is make sure that you guys are saving money and that you're not having to go out and use these other platforms. So I want to make sure that I can be that voice for you so that you're not having to jump around between 100 different platforms when you can use it all just in one place in Command. So I'll push it up the chain of command and see if we can get some features fixed for you guys, just because I want to see you guys save money. I don't want to see you jumping around from platform to platform.
Thank you, Alicia.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I know I personally would love to embrace Command. I know it has a lot to offer and it does save money. But I just haven't really wrapped my mind around it, like how to, use it on a daily basis. I want to get to a point where I come in every morning and I open up Command, the first thing I do. It's probably the last thing I do now. So, but I know it's there. I know it's valuable. I'm going to embrace it. Me and Lisa are both, she's actually ahead of the curve on me on Command, and she's loving it. So, hopefully they can work out whatever kinks are, and all of us on this call can really, open our minds to Command, because it is an amazing platform that's going to help our business grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I've been on the operations side of things, so I totally understand where you guys are coming from. You want to be in a platform that's working. You don't want to be half in one platform, half in another platform. You want to be in something that's fully up and functional. I went through the Brivity build out with them, banging my head against the wall for 2 years, and then they finally got it to where it needed to be, and they were like, here's Command. And I was like, oh God. So I totally get where you're coming from and using these other platforms, because you want simplicity. You want it to be something you can just jump in and go and use. But I want to help you guys get to a point where you can use Command at the same capacity as if you're using some of these other platforms. So any information you can share with me, any issues you're running into, please send it my way, and I'm happy to pass it along to help you guys be able to get in here and use it more, make it more user-friendly for you and save you some money so you can get rid of some of those other platforms that you might not need.
I think Bill Stone's having a breakdown. Looks like he's talking to himself.
Oh, I hope I didn't just drive them there.
Just closing deals. So we're also using Cloud CMA, which is, I believe, free.
Yep, the CMLS program.
Through your MLS subscription. And I gotta be honest with you, when you send those links out to people, it is so impressive, the information that they can have, where they're clicking around through pictures, or, being able to compare apples to apples and really look at, my kitchen versus these kitchens and all that other stuff. And I really, if you haven't logged into Cloud CMA yet to do a CMA for somebody, even if you still want to bring some paper with you when you go to meet with them, you should try to use it, because it's very, very simple. It's very, very simple to do, and it looks great. It's customizable. The free version, I think, doesn't, you can't use every feature, but for us, it's been great. And it's a great place to store all your CMAs, so that if you do, do a CMA for somebody and then, they're not ready, and then 4 months later, you can actually just log back in and find out where you were at, and update it, instead of pulling all the new data and trying to track sort of stuff. And it's really simple to use, really simple. Alicia, as far as features that you wish were working in Command, they've been getting that listing presentation feature up in Command since I went to the Mega Camp when they launched it, and that would be nice if they could get that going, because that, I think that's what Cloud CMA does. Is exactly what they were trying to do. And I know they have some issues with local MLS that they're trying to figure out and all that sort of thing. So, but Cloud CMA, for anyone who's looking for a way to present digitally, it actually integrates with Zoom. You can do a live presentation right through Cloud CMA, which is really cool. So that's totally free. If you have an MLS, if you have an MLS account, which all of you should, you have access to Cloud CMA.
Awesome. How would you compare it to the Toolkit CMA? Have you used that, Corey?
Yeah, I think Toolkit sucks.
Yeah.
I think it's old. I think it's tired and it's dated, and I think there's good data in there, but I don't want to print up a 90-page report to bring to somebody to comb through. I don't think that's, I think there are certain personalities who enjoy that stuff, but for the most part, the people we're dealing with are people who haven't sold a house in 30 years, or it's their first time selling, and they really just want to see the basics. Yeah. 3-bed, this one has 3-bed. 2 baths, this one has 2 baths. What does my house look like versus this one? Oh, this is what these ones sold for? There's no way I can list at this price point. I mean, we don't get a ton of pushback when we send the digital pictures and say, this is what your house looks like. This is what their house looks like. What do you think? Where do you think you should be listed? Well, yeah, it should be probably closer to this then, I guess, right? Yeah, great. Self-discovery. So we like it for those reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great to hear. I know Toolkit CMA can be a pain in the butt to use. I've used it for years, and if you don't hit save 5 million times, you lose it. And it is a lot of sheets of paper to bring, but it works in certain situations, in certain circumstances. But that's interesting. I'm definitely going to check out Cloud CMA. That sounds like it would be really nice to be able to incorporate, especially in this new virtual world. If you can just turn it right into a presentation with Zoom, that's awesome.
Well, I think it has to do a lot with like identifying who your target market is, right? Like we all work with different types of people, and what we've found out, our group works a lot with like first-time home buyers and like young families. That's just kind of how it's like we've gravitated to. Of course, we'll work with anybody, but the lion's share of the people that we've worked with are in my demographic, right? Like that 25 to 40 range. That's kind of where we've fallen into. Everybody on my team is in that demographic, and so we've kind of identified some stuff that those guys like to see. I had one client, my client at Royal Lakes, I had to bring listing paperwork over to her to sign because she can't log into her computer, right? Like, so you run into those every once in a while, and that's okay. But like my target market needs that. They need that sort of stuff. That's what they want. So we're going to give it to them and just, identify with those guys a little bit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Corey, I got a question for you then. Have you ever done a CMA on a laptop or a iPad or anything like that to your customer instead of printing on the paper? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So that cloud CMA thing, usually what I do is I'll bring my tablet. And I actually will send it to them ahead of time and ask them if you want to pull it up on your computer too to follow along. But it's really just a, slide. Like I like it a lot. I mean, I like it much better. Much better than bringing the paper. When I show up to listing appointments, or when I was for the most part, it was my like little folder and a tablet, not like all the stuff that you used to have to bring before. So it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, because when I first started, I used the CMA in the MLS PIN, and I used to print out every single. I had everything in there, and I found that once I got 4 pages in, it was just information overload. Yeah. And now it's 8 pages max. If they're double-sided, it's because I have 6 or 7 comps in there. That's why. But yeah, and but I'm thinking about now. I'm just thinking about more bringing it on the iPad and just showing that, because I have clients the same way that they're not computer literate, but if I show them on my iPad, and then they get it.
Right.
Yeah, I think it really just goes back to knowing who you're working with, building that relationship and having a strong understanding of how they'll retain information. I think that's awesome that you figured that out and narrowed that down, Corey.
Thanks. Gotta run, guys. Love you. Mean it.
See you, Corey.
Sorry.
Love you more.
Is anybody using any, I know open houses are kind of different now, but maybe it's easier to retain people's contact information and to follow up, but is anybody using any automated open house sign-in platforms out there that helps them follow up more efficiently with people that might have come and gone at some of their open houses?
I've got an open house that's going to be coming on in August this month, and the open houses that I've been on with my clients, my buyer clients, a lot of them have been asking for appointments in advance and using showing time for that. And I think that's a great opportunity, because then you can get some feedback immediately after the 15-minute showing for the open house. I love showing time. I think that's a great app that we have available to us. And again, you can do the follow-up. You can talk to everybody and anybody through there. You can you can do a lot of different things through showing time if you really utilize it. So I think if you're not utilizing that, it's well worth it.
Dennis, how much is showing time?
Good question. I really don't even know.
Oh.
I honestly don't know.
Damn good.
Something. I don't think I do. I think Alicia, does it come through the office?
We have an office subscription. We have an office subscription to it.
I didn't realize that.
If
Yeah,
you have
but,
any
but
questions,
there is still a cost to the agent.
yeah, I was gonna say, if you have any questions when it comes to the cost, just touch base with Faye and she can give you the breakdown on that.
Okay.
But we
Okay.
do have a office subscription, so that I believe it gives you a bit of a discount.
Yeah. And use the code word Al Styles when you do that, because he gave me a 10-year waiver, so there's no cost for me for 10 years.
What I don't like on showing time is I know people are faking that there's appointments and there's not. Like, I know when I see something booked the next day, like, oh, we've got 4 showings tomorrow. I'm like, there's no, it's very unethical, but I guarantee there's agents that are doing that to try to make it look like there's people coming in.
Well, Brian, they could be taking clients not through showing time, because not everybody is on showing time, even though they should be. But they could be taking them just over the phone or inter-office. So,
And sometimes my sellers have us block off periods of time, so they're not showings, but it's just a blocked period of time where you can't.
Yeah, they want to be home if they're home. Yeah.
But I found it really helpful, really useful when I've taken buyers to, I could block out a specific time, and everybody's been very, very good at that. If I have a 12:15 open house on a Saturday, I get there, and 12:15 to 12:30, the house is mine. So far, it's been going really well.
Yeah, the automated feedback, all that automated feedback stuff though kills me, because they're like, even 3 days later, they're like, please give me feedback on your home. I'm like, yeah, we lost the bid war on it, so I don't need to. I'm not going to give you feedback. They loved it, but we didn't get it.
Give that the feedback then. Put that.
Yeah, here's the feedback. It was a nice house that everyone wanted.
I hope I have that listing.
Anything we haven't touched on, guys? Anything you want to talk about that you guys are using right now that you love to use, we just haven't talked about yet?
The phone.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, right? Blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I
it's
actually
really
still
important.
use your app, Bob. I actually still use your app. I think I sent you a lead last night through your app, actually.
Thank you very much. Yeah, card tap.
And also the KW app that we have, I think is improved tremendously, and that's the first thing I share with my potential buyers.
Me too.
And then I get them to sign something, and then I put them into the MLS. So, but at least that way they can at least start seeing homes in the range that they want to talk about.
Hey, Dennis,
It's really
does your
improved tremendously.
KW app, you can share it with your client. Can your client share it with their sphere? So
Yes.
instead of saying, hey, call my buddy Dennis, we can train our clients or our sphere to share the app with our clients too, right?
That's
I think
exactly what I tell them.
Yeah.
I say, look, you have a sister or a brother or a relative in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You can share this with them if they want, and they can actually see property in Albuquerque. That's fine, and they can contact me, and I can make sure that they get great representation in Albuquerque. Oh yeah, I share it with people everywhere.
Yeah, wow. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I even
cool
think
app.
that's
It really is.
Yeah, that's something too, training our clients to do that. It's much better than, hey, call my buddy Dennis, here's his number. It's just share the app right there, right?
Yeah.
But
I'll take the call too. Believe me, if they say call my buddy Dennis, I'll take that too.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, the sharing the app is a really cool thing. Really,
And then
really
from a realtor perspective, and I know that you guys have the benefit through KW of with profit share, growing your, I don't know if you call it downline, whatever you guys call it, but I mean, showing other realtors out there too that this is something that KW provides that you probably don't get through your small mom and pop brokerage or even some of the bigger places too.
Yep.
That could be a great way to help you guys recruit some other agents too.
I have actually last year during open houses. That's exactly what I did. I shared it with some agents and told them that, hey, look at this is what I offer for my clients, and I don't know if you guys have anything, but I wouldn't be using Zillow or Realtor or anything like that. You can capture all your own information right here and keep them under your domain.
Can you put a link on Facebook, Dennis, to download your app, or even on like your email signature or something like that? Tap here to download my app.
You can actually, and I haven't done that, Bob. It's on my webpage, but it's not on my signature page. And you know something, that's a really great idea.
You know, I bet if you threw it out there on, you know, even on social media, just, hey, check out our new Dennis McDonald app. You know, you threw that out there as your status update on Facebook or whatever. I bet you get a really good handful to a ton of people downloading that app today, or on a Saturday morning or something like that. You know?
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. Thanks.
Yeah. What else we have, guys? What else can't you live without as far as tech goes? You guys need me to, you guys don't want to hear me talk about video again.
I was just gonna say video. We're always looking to push up our video usage. Never seem to be quite where we want to be.
Mhm.
You know, technology is awesome, but I don't know. I mean, when I look at our board, I'm not sure technology has a lot to do with all of these deals that we have pending. We have like 13 pending, and a lot of them were just people, relationships, referrals, conversations, meeting people. Technology is great, and it helps us maneuver through a transaction and even get leads. But I think 100% of the sales up on our board right now really have nothing to do with Facebook or technology. It's just really all the people that, you know, past clients, our sphere. Lisa was at an open house Sunday, and she was outside another agent's open house in the backyard and got to talking to a buyer and a couple. And they said, are you the homeowner? And Lisa goes, no, I'm actually a realtor. So just through that conversation, you know, the lady said, you seem really nice. Do you have a card? We don't have an agent yet. And so Lisa secured a client in the backyard of a listing, someone else's listing, by having a conversation. And she was with her son, Vasily, who's now a realtor. And he's like, wow, you're scary good. Like he was blown away. And it's really all about taking that conversation to a place around real estate where you want it to go. It had nothing to do with technology.
But Rick, maybe you could leverage technology and bring those people from the scoreboard and all those conversations. Imagine if you brought them online, like you've already had them in real life. Now, if you brought them in the form of reviews onto your Facebook or onto your Google page, then you could then use technology to take it even further.
Oh, 100%. It's here to stay, and we love it, and it's good. We need it, and it does amazing things. I think the point I'm trying to make is, let's not forget, you know, we are the brand, and our conversations with people, mainly face-to-face or over the phone, is really the meat and potatoes of all this technology stuff.
And that's, you know, that gets to, I think maybe last year at some point, we were doing a mastermind, and Rich Lannon was there. Al, I think you were there too. And we were talking, I don't think the topic was technology, but we were talking about technology kind of came up, and I asked the question, are realtors out there on average right now doing way more volume today on average than they were maybe back in, let's even say there was still technology around, but you know, the mid to late 90s, early 2000s, right? Has technology made it so that the average realtor or the median realtor, whatever you want to use, does 2 or 3 or 4 times the volume that they did 25 years ago? And I was really surprised, and Rich's guess, because we were just sitting around a table at that point, Rich's guess was no, the median or average realtor is not doing a ton more. And it's probably because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, like you talked about, Rick, it is just about the individual. And maybe we're not right now leveraging properly. We're still using technology, so we don't have to drive across town to get 4 different or 3 different drafts of a PNS signed with an original signature. We can all do it through Dotloop or whatever now, DocuSign. You know, but are we leveraging appropriately? I don't know. I was just surprised that with all this technology, the average number isn't 3x what it used to be 20 or 25 years ago.
But the thing is, it can't be that way for everybody because there's only so much sand in the sandbox.
Right.
So what it's doing is it's making people capable of doing a ton more business than they ever could if they utilize the technology. But it's just it's just, you only get so much sand there, so you can't, everybody's game can't go up because we're all trying to get a piece of a pie. And so the pie is only so large at any given time.
But the haves are in position now to crush the
Yeah.
have-nots.
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think if you talk to any agent that's in, you know, a high level of consistent production, they do exactly that, Al. They'll leverage the technology that's available to us in a great way, but they're not hiding behind technology. They're using it. They're in front of technology. And you know, I had this conversation with Lisa's sons. They're always got their face in their computer and they're using technology, but they need to be in front of people more. And I think if they're able to do that, they'll see their production go up. Like join a group, it's hard to say all that people stuff now with COVID, but you just got to do it. You got to push through and find a way to pivot.
Right.
I'll tell you what, Rick, though, I think one of the big challenges is going to be the generation that her sons are in. That's what they're going to be expecting, is they're going to be expecting virtual things and everything IT and electronic, because that's what they grew up with. This is, unfortunately, we're becoming dinosaurs in a lot of ways, even though it still works for us. But I've already seen it with some of my kids' friends that are looking to buy houses and stuff. They want to have a Zoom meeting. I mean, they could live a mile from me. They go, hey, can we just Zoom? Can we just do this? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely. Meanwhile, I'm still thinking Zoom was a TV show on Channel 2 and my kids grew up in.
So,
no,
Dennis, I mean, I'm curious to see what everyone else says, but I feel like Zoom meetings can be just as effective, if not more, than a face-to-face.
Yeah. I found them actually more effective and I like to hear everybody else's too, but more condensed and more effective. What does everybody else think?
I love it. I mean, it's an absolute game changer for me. I love it so much. And if you think about, there's only so much, time in the day. There's only so many places dentists can be. So, how many CMAs in someone's living room can you do on one day, Dennis? Right? But how many Zoom CMAs could you do? And it could be just as impactful, and you're not spending all that money on gas. There's just so many benefits to it. And
it's so much more efficient.
Yeah, and because of COVID, people are used to it now. I mean, people who had zero comfort around or even interest in getting into something like this, now they're in it, and and they're comfortable. They're as comfortable as they could be with it. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, I found myself only working half a day now. I only work 12 hours.
And then you golf in the other 12.
In 2019, I actually did a social media audit, and NAR actually said, and this was before COVID, that 99% of millennials and 90% of baby boomers begin their home search online as opposed to in-person referrals. 99% of millennials before COVID. So I've been working on putting together a social media deck to share with the office. And I'm curious to see how those numbers have changed. I'm looking for the most accurate and up-to-date numbers. But to think about that before COVID, it really just proves that now more than ever, you should be getting that social media awareness out there and building your brand, even if in-person referrals and you meet people and they want to work with you, that's awesome. But people are online and they're starting their searches there. So make sure that your brand is out there and aware.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Alicia. Matter of fact, every buyer meeting that I have with people, one of the last questions I ask them is, which social media site do you look for homes on? And the first one that comes up is going to be Zillow right away. But that's an easy entree then for me to share my app and say, look, you can do this so much easier. You can put this right on your phone, get rid of that Zillow app. You don't need that Zillow app. This is the app you need, and blah, blah, blah. And they download it, and if they follow through, then I've got the lead, and it works out great. But you got to ask the question.
Right.
You got to, and every single one of them, the first one is Zillow, and then next it may be, Coldwell Banker or something else. And I'm like, ooh, I don't want to hear that. So
Well, it's awareness, you know, Zillow did a really good job making
Yeah.
their brand like very, you know, common and well known to everyone that's out there. So when people go to do a home search, they often go to Zillow because people are aware of that website. So the more awareness you give people of your brand and your app, they're going to do the same thing there. It's just kind of getting yourself out there and growing that brand awareness.
And again, to build that relationship with them and make it more personal, that, hey, I have a free app that you can have. And all you got to do is hit a button. You see a house, you drive by a house and you see one and there's a sign on it. I don't care who signs on it. And you just say, hey, find homes near me. And this price comes up and it's in your price range and you didn't get it on MLS and you didn't hear it from me. You can just hit my app button and say, Dennis, I want to see this house, and I'll get you in to see it.
Yep, absolutely. That's awesome. I'm glad that you're using that.
Yeah, it's been a great tool for me.
I think just in closing here, guys, I think with social media and something that I talk with my team about all the time, whether it's the tech that we're using, social media, database management, it's really easy to fall into the trap of thinking you're doing your job with technology or with social media. But like Rick talked about earlier, and Rick and Lisa are really performing at a high level, or even Corey and Mark when they were talking earlier, it's really important that we're using social media and or technology to get closer to our clients, not to get further away, right? A Facebook post is never gonna, you know, we're salespeople first and foremost. A Facebook post is never gonna take the place of a phone call, right? It's never gonna be more impactful than a phone call. But you can't really call 100 people at the same time or 1,000 people like you can with a Facebook post or Instagram. So it's just really important that everything we do with tech, ask yourself, is this going to get me closer to my clients, or is this pushing me for my clients further away from me? And just hopefully we can, you know, all use technology to get closer to our clients. And if that's
Great
the case,
question.
we're doing our job right. Yeah. All right, guys, it's 10 o'clock. I appreciate everybody being on the call here. If you have any ideas for, you know, next week's mastermind, shoot a text or an email, phone call, knock on our door over at, to Alicia, or shoot me a text. I'm always happy to, you know, talk about anything that you guys want to talk about. This is all about you guys. So thanks for having me. And
Bob, thank you so much for doing this. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you
thank
so
you,
much.
my
We
friend.
appreciate
And
it
hey,
very
if
much.
we have, very important, we have 2 spots open on our Keller Williams Showcase and Signature Golf League, okay? 2 spots, 1 team. So 3 o'clock tee time start. Really, if you just book out 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock every Wednesday for 9 holes, get a teammate. I'll set you up with one if you want to golf. We all are terrible, okay? And except for Sean Eisner, but he lies. So Sean Eisner's good, but he lies, okay? So definitely jump right in. We're all terrible. You won't be the worst there, I promise, okay?
Oh.
It's awesome.
All right, thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Good day, everybody.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.